Expansion. I will talk about the investors and how the ease of coming into Ethiopia, but I just want to ask the question about the other two areas of prominence you mentioned before, the ICT and you mentioned mining.
Yes.
Tell us these opportunities that are in ICT and mining.
Well, in ICT, as you know, now all over the world,
yes.
The ICT issue or the digital,
it's digital age.
Digital age is coming to Ethiopia also.
Yes.
And as I said, in Ethiopia, 70% of the population are youth, and most of them are graduates of higher educations in Ethiopia, and most of them are good in computers, programming, and other aspects in that regard. So the government seizing this opportunity is opening up this digital or ICT sector for foreign investors. Actually, we have established industrial parks specifically for this purpose, and IT centers, where you can establish call centers, other areas. And now more and more Ethiopian youth are engaged in online job, sitting in Ethiopia itself, and then they are performing
remote jobs.
Okay. So they are starting to earn quite well.
Wow.
And they have becoming more and more engaged in this digital age economy. So it is open for any investment. You can come to Ethiopia, establish your IT business, computer assembly, and other issues. So we are open for this, and we are also expanding the reach out for the internet coverage. Now we have reached, if I am not mistaken, around 60% or 70% of the population are users of mobile phones.
Wow.
The number is increasing. There are also foreign companies like Safaricom from Kenya entering the Ethiopian market. So there is now access on different kinds of services in Ethiopia, something which you find in Sweden, like the Swiss system and something.
Yes.
You can have it also in Ethiopia. Now you can pay anything in Ethiopia,
Wow.
So these are the issues now we are promoting in ICT. So anything which any company engaged in ICT can come and invest in Ethiopia. Mining is the other thing which Ethiopia is also looking into and promoting as a major economic sector. Ethiopia is endowed with different minerals and mines, for precious metals, industrial metals, and also this construction materials. So we do have this mining. So the Ethiopian government is offering opportunities for companies to come and invest in the mining sector. Actually, now we are looking also for companies who would be engaging in this mining activities in the lithium and other for these electric batteries, electric car batteries. So we do have those minerals, so we are promoting those, and companies can come in and invest in production of this precious minerals. So there are some gold. We believe also there is a prospect of gas and oil as well. And so we have tantalum, we have other metals, also some precious metals, like sapphire, opals, and the like. And we have different construction materials, and we are also working on looking for iron ore and other materials also. So we are open for investment as well in these sectors.
Open for investment. That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah.
What is the ease of coming into Ethiopia to invest? Say, for instance, a businessman, an investor wants to come in and set up a company. Is the process streamlined so that he can get his company registered within one day and quickly start operations?
Yeah. Well, maybe he or she might not get registration within 1 day, because there are formalities which you have to fulfill. But we do have one-stop shop process. We do have the Ethiopian Investment Commission, which handles these processes, and the embassies, the Ethiopian embassies all over the world are the gateway for the investment. So we do, before the investor travels to Ethiopia, we do the due diligence, on that organization or company. And we will send, usually we do the profiling and everything. So if that process is complete, then it will be easier and faster for an investor to get the license, as you said, a day or two. But if you are going there without any or due diligence, or through the embassy process, then it might need, for you to prove to the officials of the Ethiopian Investment Commission that who you are, your profile and everything. But if you pass through the embassies and the due diligence has been done here, then it will be easier, because they would have the information there, and then you would know what kind of documents and other issues that you have to bring with you or produce. Then it will be easier, and then everything will be faster. So any investor who wants to come to Ethiopia is required to deposit $200,000. So once you deposit that, and then you will get your license in that regard. And everything is open now in Ethiopia. You can invest in any sector in the country. And then once you have fulfilled the pre-requirements, then you will get your license, and then the Investment Commission will help you to go into the establishment of your company, getting your license for investment, plus the trading license and other aspects. And we have 12, if I'm not mistaken, 12 industrial parks in the country. So you don't need to go around and look for land, look for electricity, water access, and so there are industrial parks in different parts of the country. So according per your investment requirement or investment sector, then you will be given the choice to choose the areas. So the shade is there, electricity is there, and everything is there. The only thing you will be required is to bring your machines, just plug the machine and
start operations,
start working in that regard. And the government for that purpose gives different incentives, different guarantees. And as I said, we are 120 million. We have ample labor force, trainable force, and competitive price or wage in the world. So there are big opportunities in that regard.
That's beautiful. And like you were talking now, that brought to mind the question of what is the population that these investors are looking towards as servicing if they come to Ethiopia? Is the population that big?
Yes, Ethiopia, as I said, next to Nigeria, we are the second highest population in Africa.
I just wanted you to say it yourself.
Yes. So we are 120 million now.
Wow.
So we are the biggest next to Nigeria, I said, and it is increasing also. It is continuing to increase, and not only the population is increasing, and we have 120 million, but out of this 70% and more, is under the age of 30. So it's very young, energetic, labor force. Yes. And most of them nowadays, they go to higher education. This young, the government establishing universities closer to cities. So we have now around 50 something government universities in addition to private universities. So most of the children or the youth are graduates. So it's a matter of retraining in the sector, specific areas. And the competitive wage, as I said, and also because of the economic development, the economic activity in the country, which is growing from year to year, the buying capacity of the population, the number of middle income population is increasing also. So if you are coming and producing in Ethiopia, you don't have a problem of getting the market or the buyers for your products in any sector in Ethiopia. It is because the market is there. It's not only in Ethiopia, you know, we are also a member of the COMESA, which is a common market for Southern and Eastern Africa countries, which comprises 21 countries in Eastern and Southern Africa. So we are into a common market there, you know.
So there's a free inroad into
area,
other
yes,
places.
Yes, in that area.
So what's the total population of this COMESA?
It's around 600 million.
Wow.
Yes, 600 million, because it goes from Egypt down to Zimbabwe, you know,
Wow.
down south. So we can, you know, you can sell your products within these African countries, and you know, we have tariffs, customs unions. So these are opportunities. So when you come to Ethiopia, that you will have these markets, not only the 120 million. And Middle East is very close. It's just next to the Red Sea, you know. It's just 3 hours flight to Saudi, which is a big market. And then the Gulf states are there. So the Middle East market is there. And also, you know, a big consumer market.
Yes. Wow. Ambassador, the African Union building is sited in Addis Ababa, and that gives Ethiopia a key important role in uniting the African continent, in creating a similar situation like we have in the Schengen area, where people can easily move from one country to the other. How far has Ethiopia gone in influencing this easy movement? Like we've been hearing about this free trade, free movement in Africa, but still, when you go to embassies or when you want to go to another country, you find the immigration as stiff. You find that it is not easy. You have to wait for visas. You have to process. It takes longer time in Africa than in Europe. How is Ethiopia influencing an easier, you know, inroad into the African countries?
Thank you for your this very important question. You know, Ethiopia believes in Africa, in Pan-Africanism. This is, you know, been evident and shown since the establishment of the Organization of African Unity in Addis Ababa. As you may remember, that our Emperor Haile Selassie played a major role in bringing the different groups at that time, you know, the Monrovia groups and the Casablanca group, to come together in Addis Ababa to form this Organization of African Unity, to establish a unified African unity, because there are different groups at that time, you know, on discussing on the idea of establishing the African unity. So Haile Selassie, the emperor, played a major role to bring together this the then African nations who are independent to come together, to come to Addis Ababa, and not only to come there, but to be able to establishing the African unity, African Union in 1963 in May. And Ethiopia since then continued to play a very crucial or important role in unifying African countries. You know, we supported the freedom, you know, fighting in southern African nations, in Zimbabwe, in Zambia, South Africa. We had different regimes in Ethiopia since Haile Selassie, but we contributed, you know, whatever we could in training, in arms and communications and other aspects to help these African countries to get their independence and liberation. And then as you said, the headquarters is in the African Union, and we host the summits every year. They come and we host as much as possible. This has been going on since 1963, and Ethiopia promotes the African unity, the Pan-Africanism in that. So in that regard, we have taken measures to bring African countries. So now all African nationals traveling to Ethiopia can get visa on arrival. Actually, this has been a measure taken even before other countries were allowed to have this opportunity. So now when around 120 countries are allowed to have visa on arrival to travel to Ethiopia, but this has been granted to African countries even before we granted to other countries outside Africa. This is one aspect. And we also have opened our borders, as you said, for neighboring countries. They can come to Ethiopia without a visa.
Oh, great.
So it helps the free movement of people in that regard. And we very much also help our African brothers and sisters to keep peace and security. As you know, Ethiopian peacekeeping forces were in Rwanda, in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, in Congo during the Congo fighting. So we, and Burundi also, so we sent, and in Sudan and South Sudan as well. So we sent our peacekeeping forces under the UN and under the African Union, so to help our African sisters and brothers to have peace and security. And in the African Union also, we facilitate the works and lives of those who work in the African Union and help the African Union achieve its goals, and we actively participate in that regard. And we are also working with the African Union, with other African countries together, to bring prosperity to African continent, like the free trade area, the African free trade areas. We are one of the countries who signed this agreement.
It's ratified already?
Yes, we
Great.
did. We are participating in that, and we are also believers of African solutions for African problems, and we engage with the African Union very much in that regard. And we are very much working in that. And not only the African Union headquarters is in Addis, the Economic Commission for Africa, the UN Economic Commission for Africa is also headquartered in Addis Ababa. So a big organization which looks into the economic development, economic partnership of African countries with the UN and other UN organizations is also headquartered in Addis Ababa. So there is a big activity going on the economic sector also with the UN and other. And also there are other international organizations based in Addis Ababa. Almost all UN agencies are based in Ethiopia. We have around 136 embassies in Addis Ababa. So it's a big diplomatic hub next to Geneva and New York. So
and with this kind of responsibility also comes a lot of work.
Yes.
Like ensuring peace in the region and in the generality of Africa. We've seen not too pleasant relationships between certain African countries and their European friends or their former friends. Do you want to comment on this? Like we've seen the French former colonies, departing ECOWAS because of their poor relationship with their former colonial masters. How does it also affect the African Union? Does it affect in any way? Have they pulled out completely?
Course, if there is no peace and security in one country, it will definitely have a spillover effect into the neighboring countries. and then from there into the region, sub-region, and then the region. So when you don't have peace and security in one country, it definitely will affect the regions and the neighbors. What happens with the the colonial, countries who were in, for example, as you mentioned, in ECOWAS in the West Africa?
Yeah.
I think the Western countries or the previous colonial, they should understand that the old way of approaching the relationships with Africa is not working now, and it doesn't work. Because Africans, we have changed. We come out a lot, we came a long way in development, economic development, political development, and the development of the digital age, as we said, the social medias, the YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter. It has changed how the world sees themselves, or the African. As I said, it's not only in Ethiopia, but in other parts of Africa also. The youth is growing more in numbers and intellectually as well. So, it's not easy to govern this knowledgeable youth with old methods, by directing from Europe or America or somewhere, that to tell Africans, you have to do this, this is how you do that. It doesn't work anymore.
It doesn't work.
Yes, you have to recognize that Africa has already is changed and is changing. So you should have a new way of relationship, a new way of approaches in your relationships and cooperation. So this is very important, and this is not only important for our relations with the Europeans or the others, but it is also important for within the African continent also. So when we deal in our sub-regions like ECOWAS, COMESA, or the others, and when we deal within the Africa group in the African Union also, we have to consider this aspect, because the youth is a very demanding youth nowadays. You cannot just, even in Africa, rule any country with the old methods, with the old theory, with the old ideology. So you have to provide what the youth wants, education, health, development, good roads,
infrastructure and everything.
Infrastructure development, work, job, and everything. So unless and otherwise you provide this, you cannot just govern just with empty words. So a lot has been changed, and we have to consider that, and we have to take action towards that.